Hello again, witchy people. I am back to answer some more of the questions that I was asked when I had my 500 subscribers giveaway. So I'm going to put some of these together, and these questions are mostly about herbs. So I'm going to club all these together and try and read them out. So Unknown Angel asked, do you believe that moon magic strengthens your herbs and spells, and do you use it based on belief? I use it based on fact. I think it is fact that the moon is, the moon affects our tides, it affects our moods. Lunacy, lunatic, these words come from luna, the word for moon. And the simple act of putting a glass jar of water outside over those 3 days of the full moon, so the day before the full moon itself, and the day after, magically enhances this water to become moon water. So yes, I do use it a lot. I am somewhat of a moon gazer, which basically means I will sit out in my garden. I am almost south facing, so the moon comes right the way over my house and my garden, and I can see it almost all night, and then in the morning it comes round to sort of more this side. But I will sit and stare at the moon for hours, and it is almost an adoration of the moon. There is so much folklore and myth and tales associated with the moon. It can only be, a huge part of my practice. I couldn't not have it in my practice. So yes, the moon itself is an incredible empowerer of magic and herbs. So September Crow asked, is there a herb or stone that you won't use or had an opposite or negative effect on you? Herb wise, sadly I am allergic to lavender. I have become to give myself more of a tolerance of English lavender, because I don't think it's as strong as French lavender. However, French lavender I am still highly allergic to. It gives me asthma, it causes me to have a rash. Hello kitty. It gives me terrible headaches, which I think is quite strange because lavender is used to ease headaches. It just gives me a headache. So yes, I haven't really had any negative feelings towards any stones as such, but I am allergic to gold. So although I wear a gold wedding ring, occasionally this has to come off. But I can't wear gold. If I wear gold necklace where the gold pendant hits, I will get terrible rashes and welts and blisters. My skin just doesn't like gold. So Singing Moon asked, do you use any of your baneful herbs in your practice? Yes, I do. I love them. Unfortunately, there's some that I haven't been able to grow. Again, they've died off. I'm hoping they'll come back next year. Excuse me. That is the hemlock and the monkshood. Both of those have died right down. I'm hoping they will come back next year. If not, I will try and just grow some more. But I have, obviously, foxglove. I have woody nightshade, black nightshade, orange nightshade. So many different herbs, and I think people have a fascination with the dangerous and the mysticism, because they are considered so dangerous to a lot of people. The mysticism that surrounds them, the mystery and the badness of them. But also, although I don't work with deities as such, I do feel some connection to certain figures. So Lilith, Hecate, Hestia, Herne, the Green Man, Oak King, the Holly King, a few others, but most of the figures, the characters, the deities, if you like, that I am drawn to seem to have a very dark side. And that is very much associated with baneful herbs, a lot of baneful herbs, so it just kind of makes sense. But I find for protection, baneful herbs are amazing. But also because they are considered, a lot of them, deadly, and they are deadly. They're very useful for contacting the dead, and so yes, I use them a lot. Dried, I never use fresh. I always use gloves when I handle them, and yeah, but I am fascinated by baneful herbs, and I believe a lot of other people are too. So Texas Rose, what is your most beloved herb? Apart from baneful herbs, I think my most beloved herb has to be rosemary. Rosemary for remembrance, ancestor spell work, divination, the dead. Rosemary is a go-to herb on all occasions. It's just amazing. I also like violets, but yeah, rosemary and violets. I think basil for, you know, very much for sort of like wisdom and knowledge, but and protection. But rosemary is such an amazing herb for such a wide range of things, and it grows so well in my garden. So I love that. Indigo Moon Woman, what herbs do you use the most? It would have to be rosemary. And my baneful herbs. And privet. Funnily enough, I use a lot of privet because privet's very good for, once again, contacting the dead. I do like rosemary and basil combined. I use quite often rosemary for the contacting of the dead and ancestor work, but also basil for the protection, that extra little snag of protection. I think that's it. That is the questions. I should include there, Dragon Iris said, do you work with any deities or spirits in your practice? And that includes animal spirits. I do, like I said, I don't really work with deities, though there are some that I feel some sort of affiliation with. I don't call on deities. It tends to be more of a picture that I use in my head to give me strength from, or to enhance my own power and energy. But spiritual entities, certainly, I do use them, and a lot of that is due to ancestor work, obviously. Not in the same way that you would think of through perhaps hoodoo or voodoo, but very much in a head witch sort of way, and that is contacting my past relatives, but the dead in general anyway. And I do have someone actually asked, and I'm going to go on as well, someone else asked me about familiars. Do I have a familiar? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Do you have an animal familiar you work with? Okay, that was it, and that was from Amethyst Moonstone. So, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So, yeah, Amethyst Moonstone asked, do you have an animal familiar you work with? I have my cats, which is a pretty normal familiar, I suppose, pretty common. But typically, my animal familiar, I have several, but my main one is a cat named Baby. Her name is Miss Violet, but we called her Baby. And she tragically was killed by a motorist who reversed to make sure he did the job properly. A horrible, horrible person. And she died in my arms. She tried to get back home to me, and she stayed alive until we got to the vets, and she died in my arms. But I see her all the time. We also had another cat called Bagpuss, who was a Norwegian forest cat, who he does come through sometimes, but Baby, Miss Violet, is the cat that seems to just appear at very strange and odd times. So, like I said, spiritual entities, animal familiars, animal spirits, yes, I work with all of these rather than deities as such. My cats do quite often just come into the room and sit in my grimoire, or come in and start disturbing my spells. I mean, at the moment my altar box is a cat bed, They love anything to do with, which I think is quite strange because cats don't usually like strong smells, and of course I have smells all the time going around. I mean, this is even now, see, I have incense burning, and cats don't usually like it, but Kitty is here and she loves those sort of smells, perhaps because they're quite earthy smells. So yes, when it comes to working with animal familiars, I do, but in the true sense of the word, an animal familiar, in that it is a animal that I once had that's now passed away. And I also have a dog called Lily, who she was a Jack Russell Terrier, and she died of cancer, I think about a year after we lost Miss Violet. And if I'm doing work that needs loyalty and faithfulness and friendship, anything to do with that, she tends to come through. So there we go, that's about herbs and my familiars, and a little bit about non-deities, I suppose. So there you go, and I will link all these people. I will link their channels below this. So there we go, a few questions answered all in one. Isn't that good? Thank you for watching, witchy people. Me and Kitty will be back very soon. Bye for now.